Sportscast, June 30th, 2020. If you haven't yet, please subscribe on all our channels, YouTube, Periscope, and iTunes. And if you're in iTunes, please leave a rating and a review. It will help us out tremendously. And visit us on thesportscast.net, thesportscast.net. This episode is brought to you by Insta Bible app. You can download the Insta Bible app on the iOS App Store. Before we begin our main event, big news on Sunday night was announced that Cam Newton has signed a deal with the Patriots worth 1 year, worth up to $8 million. And joining us to flesh this out, Justin Riley, all the way from Central Mississippi. Welcome to the Sportscast.
Hey, glad to be here, but I'm wondering why we're talking about an Auburn guy on an Alabama podcast.
Yes, I understand. I know Cam Newton has it's a little bit of like when you think of him, it's not good for a Bama guy. But anyways,
I'm just kidding.
I know. This is pretty interesting news. A lot of this is probably like the biggest news in football for a while, maybe since the draft. How significant is this? Is this landscape going to change a little bit for the Patriots and for the AFC East?
Well, it definitely changes things for the Patriots. I mean, they really didn't have any answers at quarterback. The greatest of all time, perceivably, just left to go to Tampa Bay, and they're looking at Jarrett Stidham taking the reins. You know, nothing against Jarrett Stidham, but he hasn't played on a major stage yet. But Cam Newton's a former league MVP. And to be honest with you, I saw this coming. I felt like it was the best fit for everybody involved. He comes into an already established system, has some good backs, good receivers. They're getting better. But he's also going to be playing with Bill Belichick. And if Cam is able to stay healthy, this could be a pretty interesting marriage. And it definitely puts the Patriots on the forefront as challengers for the AFC crown.
Yeah, something that Bill Belichick has definitely made these type of moves before. Is Cam an automatic starter if he's healthy?
Well, you got to think so. I mean, if he's healthy, then he's one of the best in the league. You can't help but start him.
Yeah, that's this kind of puts a damper on Stidham, another Auburn, another former Auburn player. I thought he was going to start day one. Looks like that might be in the pending mode.
We'll see. Don't look at it necessarily as a negative. It's an opportunity for him to grow and mature some more and be ready at the right time. This may not have been the right time for him, so you got to look at it as a positive.
Well, definitely things are stirring up in the AFC East and, of course, in the AFC. So we'll see how things develop. Cam Newton's only about in his early 30s, so he definitely has some gas left in the tank. Anyways, Justin Riley, tell us about our special guest for tonight.
Okay, before I do that, though, I got to remind everybody about the fine folks at Rama Jammas. Hey, if you're looking for a way to get going in the morning, because I know I am, there is no better way than to go to Rama Jammas for one of the best breakfasts you'll ever have. And then also, too, you get to have it right beside Bryant-Denny Stadium. So that's two winning combinations. So definitely go check them out. If you're in town, if you're out of town, drive over. You need it anyway. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to bring to you a three-time SEC West champion, the 1992 SEC champion, the 1992 national champion. He had 859 career rushing yards as a fullback with 5 touchdowns, 518 career receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. And he is arguably one of the most dominant players to ever play the fullback position. And that's Alabama legend Tarrant Lynch.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, man, what's going on? Glad to have you.
Hey, glad to be here.
Tarrant Lynch, another Alabama forward player, a legend, Alabama legend. Tell us, Tarrant, what have you been up to these days during like the whole pandemic?
Oh, just taking these, trying to be careful, trying to protect myself from getting involved in catching COVID-19 and also watching out for my family and friends. That's about it. That's all we can do.
Has it slowed down work for you at all? Or are you pretty much doing all right with that?
It hasn't slowed down any for us here at work. I'm in the steel business, so people going to need steel. So we're what they call essential
Oh, good deal.
So obviously this show is like we've been interviewing these players, former players and coaches these past couple weeks, and we'd like to take into a journey of how they started and how their career has expanded throughout the years. Tarrant, tell me, how did you start playing football?
I started at a young age, about 6 years old, and football was real big around town Creek. If you didn't play football then, you were really pretty much ridiculed and talked about and joked and everything. So I started around 6 years old and went from there.
Well, it kind of seems like Town Creek was the football capital of the world, mainly Hazelwood High School. I mean, y'all are famous for producing Alabama alumni like yourself, your cousin Antonio Langham, the Good family, all of them, Chris Hood, Montoya Madden. So what was Hazelwood able to do, I guess, to produce a great formula for developing athletes and getting them ready to go to the next level?
Well, at Hazelwood, like I said, we took football, we took all sports seriously. 365 days out of the year, we were doing something. We wasn't in the house playing video games or anything like that. We was either out running, playing basketball. Even in the cold, we was out playing basketball, playing backyard football. Even on Sunday, we played football up at the football field. So we took it very seriously. We didn't take any time off to do anything. So like I said, 365 days out of the year, we were playing some type of sport.
Tarrant was proactive. How was your basketball skills?
I was pretty good. To me, back then, I consider myself more better basketball player than I was a football player. But with my size and everything, I knew I wasn't going to be able to get to a Division I scholarship. So I just stuck with football.
Now, here's something a lot of people may not know, and I got to bring it up. You actually grew up as an Auburn fan, and while you were being recruited, you actually only visited two places, Auburn and Alabama. I think you said mainly because of basketball. So what actually sold you on Alabama?
I think it was once I made my visit there. It felt like home. I knew a lot of guys down there, with Clyde and Pierre and all of his brothers down there. I knew them, and, Antonio, he was going down as well. I just felt like home. And that visit I made down there, that just cemented it for me.
How was the recruiting process? Were there a lot of schools approaching you? Were you kind of looking at another school possibly? How was that recruiting process?
It wasn't that bad. Like I said, with a lot of the players that had played at Hazelwood going to Alabama, you really didn't have a lot of schools coming at you because of they sort of figured that since you got relatives and people down there going to Alabama that they pretty much thought that we were all automatically going down there ourselves. But Auburn, Tennessee, and Alabama, they was pretty much coming at us hard, and I looked at all of them. But like I said, once I made my visit down in Alabama, that did it for me.
Who was your second choice? Who was the close one that, if Alabama didn't come through, who would you have gone with?
I was definitely headed to Auburn. Definitely to Auburn. The coaches and everything down there were great. Once I made my commitment to Alabama, within less than an hour, Coach Herring and Coach Blakeney from Auburn was down at the school talking to me, asking me why would I, what determined me or what made my decision on going down there to Alabama. So, they were real serious about recruiting me.
I really enjoy talking to players who had the blessing of being coached by the great Gene Stallings. Can you tell us a little bit about what it meant to play for Coach Stallings? And then for the more younger audience, how would you compare him to Nick Saban?
Coach Stallings, Coach Stallings was a fair guy, real fair guy. He knew how to talk to you. He was more like a father figure out there. He took everything seriously. He didn't. You came out there, you didn't practice hard. He would get in your butt, which, I respected him for that. He should. And he was a great guy. He motivated you, but at the same time, he let you know what you did wrong and what you need to do and what you need to change to make yourself better. He pushed you. If he knew you were lacking or anything, even in the classroom or at home with your parents or anything like that, he would always ask, if something was going on. He was a caring guy. but at the same time, he was, he was all serious and, always wanted to win. But if you wasn't giving 110%, then you wasn't going to play.
Tarrant, what was your most memorable game while playing in Alabama?
My most memorable game was it had to be the Tennessee game my senior year. That game right there, funny story about that game right there. The Friday before, we normally leave on Fridays going up to where we were playing. And I thought that the plane was going to leave at 11:30, but it left at 11. So by the time I got to where we supposed to load up and everything, the plane was taking off. And that was a bad feeling right there. So I had to end up riding in with the coaches that was out recruiting that night, flying in with them later at night. I made it there probably about 10:30, 11 o'clock. So that morning when we had our meeting and breakfast and everything, he never did say anything. He said over there, Coach Stallings said over there, I could tell he was looking at me because it made me feel probably about an inch big. So he never did call me over there. I just got up, went over there and sat down and told him, I apologize and everything. And man, he ripped me a new one. And, that right there told me, I had to, make up for everything that I did. So I went out there and probably had one of the better games I've had since I've been in Alabama.
Sports Class exclusive, Justin. It's funny how we hear a lot of Tennessee bring up in these past couple of weeks. It's quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems to be a common thing. I do want to kind of hit on something before I really go more of football per se. We had George Teague on last month, and one of the things he talked about, which really got my interest, was apparently y'all had some underground wrestling league that took
Hey, Tarrant,
place in the dorms.
Are you on speakerphone?
Yes.
If you could put like headphones or like remove it because we're hearing some feedback. So,
I don't have any headphones or anything with me. I sure don't have anything with me.
oh, okay. I mean, if you can't use your phone, that's fine. We'll just have to work with it. But yeah, just want to let you know.
Okay.
Sorry about that. No, what I was saying is we were talking with George Teague last month, and he made us aware of something that we didn't know. Like I said, there was this underground wrestling club apparently that was going on at the dorms. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And how did you do in this league? What was your record?
Yeah, I think it was split. It depends on who George had with him. If he had EC and Copeland with him, then of course they won it. But if it was just them and the DBs and some of the linebackers, of course we the running backs and offensive linemen, we took over on them. We won that battle. But just as long as John Copeland and Eric Curry was with him, I think we outdid them.
So George and I guess Eric gave themselves the names Axe and Smash. Did you have a name too?
No, we didn't. During that time right there, the defense was more big time than the offense was. The defense that year, man, was awesome. We had several All-American guys on that team that that made All-American and then win the league and played several years there. So that defense was awesome. So they deserve the right to call themselves whatever they wanted to.
And back in '92, you guys became SEC champions. Can you tell us that experience and how did it feel?
It felt great. Like I said, we had a bunch of guys on that team that was amazing that came through for us. Offensively and defensively, of course, we had the bookends with Curry and Copeland. We had Derek Oden, Teague, Shea, Tommy Justin, of course, Antonio Langham. Offense, we had, Palmer, Prince, Jay Barker. We had a lot of guys. That year right there, I don't think, to me, still to this day, I don't think there's been a Alabama team that's better than the one we had then in '92.
Who was the best player that you played with? And also, who was the best player that you played against?
The best player that I played with, I would have to say, it had to be my high school classmate and teammate Antonio. Man, that guy was awesome. Those last three games of '92, he actually pretty much won those games by himself with the block punt, the interception against Auburn, and the interception against Florida. I mean, he did it all for us. Best player I played against, I would probably have to say, I'd say La Tech, that whole defense we played in '92. Those guys, man. those guys, man, that was a tough team that year right there to beat. That whole squad right there on defense, man, could have played in the NFL.
Wow.
They pretty much did.
Exclusive.
Could you say that again?
Sportscast exclusive.
It's known to everybody, man. That defense, everybody, I think, wound up in the NFL and for a pretty good length amount of time. So
yeah,
it was no secret.
Yeah, and I think they had that offensive lineman that played for, I think it was into the Saints for a while, Willie Roaf. Man,
Yeah.
he had our defense, man, on skates, just pushing them 10, 15 yards back. And he was doing it all.
Oh, definitely. But, I know the defense got a lot of, publicity, but I want to stick with the offense because that's what you were doing. You came to Alabama in 1990, and the backfield was loaded at the running back position. It seems like Alabama has always had the best at that position, but the fullback position as well. Why is it that that position has always been so important to the Alabama formula? And who would you say you would compare yourself to in the Saban era?
Well, in the Saban era, it's hard to say because it's really the fullback position wasn't utilized the way we were utilizing it back then. Compared to now, because I think they call it I think it's the H-back now, but when we played, it was something they might have well have just thrown a number 70 or 60 number on us because we did a lot of blocking compared to running. For me, it was a tough transition because I came in as a running back, a tailback, and I made that transition in 92. So, it was a tough transition, but I made it. And I mean, it's compared to the guys that, during Saban, they did a whole lot more running and a whole lot more catching the ball than I did when I was there. But, the fullbacks with Coach Saban, they got, like I said, a whole lot more touches than we did.
Well, speaking of that transition, you were able to play with Martin Houston, but briefly, more importantly, with NFL All-Pro Kevin Turner. What did that mean to you, and how did it help your growth at that position?
Oh man, it was a great. Both KT and Martin helped me out a whole lot. KT, you talking about a man? That was a man right there. He could run, block, catch, and do it all. He would, if you asked him, show you how to do anything, he would be more than happy to show you. He was just a great all around guy. Just not a great player, but as a great friend. He was just a great player and all. Martin Houston, he was a great one too. He shared a lot of his secrets and not a lot of talent and stuff. He showed me a lot of the ropes and stuff too. Also, Craig Harris, he helped me out a whole lot too.
You were teammates with current coach Clemson, Coach Sweeney. How was he back then? And did you ever see him being a coach?
To me, I never pictured him being his coach. He was, he was like the rest of us. He laughed, joked around. He went out there and he gave 100% every play. But Dabo, man, he was great, smart guy. He, like I said, he gave 100%. And if you needed anything from him, he'd give you his shirt off his back. Those guys, Prince, and all those receivers and everything. They was a great bunch of guys. They do go out and do what they're supposed to, catching, blocking, and doing whatever they had to do. But Dabo, as far as seeing him as a head coach, I never would have thought of that. But I'm glad that he went into that profession. He's doing a great job.
And can you see him coaching for Alabama in the future?
Honestly, I don't see why he would. I mean, he's made that legacy up there where he's at now. He's won national championships. He's gotten something started really down there in Clemson that hadn't been started in a while there. So I don't see him coming back. I mean, me personally, if I was him, I wouldn't, because like I said, he's got a good thing going there.
Justin said the same thing a couple of days ago to me.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I've said it all along. When I had this conversation countless amount of times. I'm sure you do too with Tarrant. But the thing is, like you just said, he already has his own legacy started at Clemson. So why would he want to go back to Alabama and then live in a shadow of Nick Saban when he already has his own shadow cast at Clemson?
Yes, that's what I was saying. Exactly.
Unless he wins like 11 championships in Alabama.
I want to go back to your senior season. in 1994, you were given that 5th year due to medical hardship. You're elected team captain, and you were ready to get that bitter taste of the 1993 season out of your mouth. What personal goals did you set for yourself regarding that season?
Well, that season, I came into that season about 40, 45 pounds lighter because the year before I hadn't got probably bigger than I've ever been before. So I came in about 40 pounds lighter. Wanted to be a better leader than I've been, the previous year. Really wanted to win a championship and help the team as much as I can. Be more focused, dedicated. I wanted to go out on top my senior year, with this being my last year.
How would you rate yourself your senior year? I mean, did you think that you could have gone NFL like 1 year prior, or do you think you needed that senior year to put the icing on the cake?
I needed that senior year because of being fullback. Fullbacks are not known to come out early at junior year. I needed that senior year to work on a few more things and get myself in better shape.
How was your health then?
I was healthy then. Like I said, I lost all that weight then. I was healthy. I didn't have any issues at all. Maybe a couple of sprained ankles early on in the year, but other than that, I was fine.
I definitely have to agree that 1994 is probably your best season. I felt like you play with incredible fire and tenacity, literally every snap. And it's like you were playing it like it was your absolute last. And you said Tennessee probably was your best game, but I really felt like you did that against Auburn as well as Georgia. I'm sure if you asked the other team, they probably would say the same thing. But
yeah,
although you didn't play for a national championship, you did get a chance to play in the Citrus Bowl against Ohio State, and we defeated them 24-17. It sure did feel like a national championship game because both teams were loaded with NFL talent. And it's still one of the best games I've ever seen. How big was that Citrus Bowl game for you to close out your career?
I was real big. With us going up against a Heisman Trophy winner in Eddie George, it was real big. Plus, they had a quarterback that was pretty good and the receivers that were pretty good. But we had a job to do, and when we got down there, we practiced the way we were supposed to practice and did what we were supposed to do, and went out there and won the game. But it was big. We went in there looking like we were playing for a national championship.
Justin, are you ready to go to the NFL, or you have a few more Alabama questions?
Hey, I'm ready to jump to the next level.
Okay. So Tarrant, tell me your NFL scout experience. What were they telling you before the draft, and how was the process during the draft?
They were telling me that I need to get a little stronger, just work on my speed and everything, and other than that everything was pretty good. Like I said, during that time when I was finishing up, we really didn't have any big time fullbacks that was coming out, and they really wasn't drafting fullbacks, real high. But I practiced all and did all that, everything that they asked me to do, and went down to the combine. I thought I did pretty good, and then ended up with signing with Miami.
I'm still kind of questioning to this day why you went undrafted. I still think that you were arguably the best fullback in the country. And no, the fullback position doesn't often get a whole lot of glory, but still, you brought more to the table than the typical fullback. Yes, you could run through people, you could block, you could also catch a ball, and you could definitely make people miss, man. There are plenty of times where I saw you break some ankles. So that has always been a mystery to me, but of course, that's not how it panned out. And you did go to the Dolphins. I want to talk about your time with Tony Nathan. He was an assistant coach with Miami at the time. And for those who are not familiar, go see the movie Woodlawn because you need to be familiar with this guy. But he was a former Alabama great. What was it like working with him, and how did he help you transition to the NFL level?
He with him, being from Alabama, he was a Alabama guy. We smoked. We spoke very little about Alabama. Like I said, he had a job to do down there, and everything down there is like a job. He taught me some of the ins and outs of what I need to do and how I need to do it. But mostly, like I said, if you gotten to that level right there, you should have. If you got great coaches and everything, you should know your job and everything you should. and they shouldn't have. The only thing they should have to tell you up there is plays and everything and all that, but the techniques and everything, you should know that by the time you get up there.
How long were you with the Dolphins?
I was Dolphins all the way up to preseason. Which was my fault, I think it was, because I came. It was like sometime in July we could have went home and stayed there and worked out, and I came home and was playing basketball, trying to stay in shape, and broke my foot. So went back and stayed with them during that time, and they were in need of fullbacks because a lot of the guys were hurt. They had Keith Byers, he had tore his knee up, so they bring guys on defense, put out in fullback. So they needed some more guys to bring in, so they released me. And after that, that's when my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I really, lost focus on it and wasn't really ready to go back into it.
Before we go into this next this next topic, which it is about your mother, first of all, I want to say happy birthday to her in heaven. Realize it was her birthday today, so I want to definitely say that. I have respect for her, and like you said, unfortunately, she passed away in '96. How did your mother's passing affect you once it happened?
It was rough. I mean, it was real rough. Just not on me, but I had a younger brother and sister. It was real rough on. So me being the eldest, I had to, look out for them. My sister, she came and was living with me, and my brother, he was an adult, so he stayed by himself. So, but I still had to watch over them too. But it was rough. I mean, anytime you lose your mother of all, man, that's rough.
Right.
Was there any other opportunity for you to get back into the NFL?
Yes, it was. But like I said, I just lost that feeling about going back. It just wasn't in me anymore. And, when you get to that point right there, there's no need of wasting their time or your time trying to get back into something that, you don't have a feeling for it anymore.
So kind of sticking with that, how do you feel that God brought you out of that situation? And what do you think that he taught you in that difficulty?
He brought me through. He made me that right there. It made me a whole lot stronger. He says, he never puts more on your plate than you can carry, you can handle. But he brought me through it. Made me a whole lot stronger, a whole lot more focused. Made me a whole lot wiser, and know that you can't take anything for granted. I mean, you're only here visiting. Your home is in heaven, so we just here visiting for a while. So you just got to make the best of it while you're here, and you just protect and look out for your family, raise your kids, and do the best you can.
How do you feel God brought you out of that, and what did he teach you with that difficulty?
He taught me that life goes on. You just gotta, like I said, you're not gonna be here forever. But I feel like, she's in a better place now, and she's with him. And like I said, it made me more focused, more stronger, and made me a better person. Made me the person I am today. But I try to treat everybody the same, and as I want to be treated. If I help anybody out, I do anything I can to them. But God definitely, brought me through it. I mean, if he can bring me through it, he can bring anybody through it. You just gotta, stay on that, the righteous path and do as you're told.
Amen.
And you spent a whole lot of time, like you just spoke about, pouring life into others, making sure they were being taken care of, which is definitely admirable. But I got to ask, who was pouring life into you? Who was really investing in you to make sure you were going to make it?
My at the time, my oldest daughter. My kids. I do anything for my kid, but at that time, I had my oldest daughter. She was born, and I wanted the best for her, and that motivated me a whole lot, which that should motivate anybody. With kids, that you want the best for them, and you don't want them to really go through the same thing that you went through. You want a better life for them.
Amen. What was the most important thing your mother, what your mother has taught you?
She always told me, when you're speaking to someone, you always look them dead in the eye. Be honest. Don't let anybody, be disrespectful to you. You always, don't hold your tongue. If you got something to say, ask. Because closed mouth don't get fed. I mean, you can't just sit back and not know what's going on and not ask any questions. always ask questions and always give 110% in whatever you do. If you're not going to give 110%, don't do it.
Wow. I needed that today, by the way. I actually had like one of these projects that I was proposed to do, and I couldn't do it because I knew I could not give it 110%. Thanks for the word.
You're more than welcome.
And definitely what you just said echoed in every phase of your playing career. There's no question that what your mother taught you definitely translated well onto the football field. Like I mentioned earlier, every single snap, every block, every carry, every catch, you were playing like it was your last play and you're going to make the best play. And that definitely sends so much positivity, and it's a great testimony for others who are watching you. So what message do you have for others who are maybe going through the same thing right now that you went through with your mother's passing?
Just stay strong. Remember, that you're doing everything because of your mother. You got, especially if you got kids, you're doing it for your kids because you gotta keep living. Like I said, God never puts more on you than you can bear. Just keep focused, and you keep focused and do what you're supposed to. God will make everything all right.
Before we enter into rapid fire, Justin, which he's getting ready for, what would you tell a player coming into Alabama his first season? What advice would you give him?
Come in focused with Coach Saban down there. Everybody knows the mentality he has. Just get down there and do what you're supposed to. Be where you're supposed to. Go to classes, study film, study your plays, do all that. Do what you're supposed to. If you do all the things that you're supposed to, then you'll be all right.
All right, we ready for some rapid fire questions?
Let's do it. I want to shoot some random ones, so go ahead, Justin.
All right. First question I have, and I was thinking about this the other day. Of course, as we know, so much has changed on both sides of the ball in this era of football. High-powered offenses are taking the field these days. Tarrant, what would your career have looked like in this type of offense, especially in Alabama's offense?
I probably would have looked a whole lot better in the offense they're running now because they utilize a lot of the players. Pretty much all the players is out there. Fullback, H-back, and all of it. They utilize a lot of it. And I think that would have helped me out a whole lot out. Like I said, during Coach Stallings' era, fullbacks was mainly the blocker. We very rarely ran the ball and caught the ball, but in this, in the offense they have now, they would utilize me a whole lot.
How much can you bench?
Now or then?
Then?
I would say around 385, 390.
How about now?
I wouldn't even do it now. Shoulders and got pretty weak, so I'd say probably around high twos.
As long as it's moving, man, that's all it counts.
That's right. That's right. At the age I am now, I know used to me being so strong. I joke with the guys out here now. If I got to use my strength or something like that, and you see me run, you better be running with me because something behind me.
Hey, I say that same exact thing, man. I'm glad I have somebody who shares that with me. I got to ask this because I was joking with George Teague the other day about it. Who won the head-to-head battles between you and George Teague in practice?
I would have to say it was I would have to say George. He got me a lot of times because a lot of times on defense, those guys, they stuck together with each other. You could be running the ball down the field, you're looking at one player, and then George Teague them come out of nowhere and take you out. But the times that I did see George, he could tell you what are things I did to him. But like I said, they won that battle.
Which for Auburn, I know that you're not an Auburn fan, but would you put Cam Newton in the Bo Jackson tier?
No, it's hard because not many people can be put up in that Bo Jackson tier. Bo Jackson was a heck of a player. Cam was a heck of a player, but Bo Jackson he's amazing.
He's a force to be reckoned with, which he played while injured, and also yourself. So you had that same type of mentality, just never give up. Like you tore your ACL in one of those games against Vanderbilt, and then Bo Jackson in the NFL while playing with the Raiders, he tore his hip and he kept playing. So you guys had some similarities there.
Yeah, he's like a robot, man. He was something. Like that injury that he had, they said if it was just a regular player or something like that, probably would tore the hip out of the socket out of the skin or the broke skin. So that was a very devastating injury that he had.
Speaking of that, how in the world were you able to still play after tearing your ACL? Usually,
did you feel anything?
I mean, when I did it, I felt it. But like I said, as long as I was running and kept it warm, kept it loose, it wasn't bothering me. But as soon as the game was over and I was sitting around, that's when it really swelled up. And that next day, that's when I went over to the training room and they looked at it, and that's when they determined that it was a torn ACL.
How was the medical procedure back then? Was it really good, or it's not what it is today?
Oh, it's not. It's nowhere near what it was, what it is today. I think now, back then, you have a torn ACL. You was out for, I know, a whole year, maybe a little more. Now, these guys having the surgery out, 6-7 months, and even maybe even less, and come back playing. So it's totally different.
Justin, one more.
One more. I'm a big fan.
When was the final whistle of the game?
Final whistle. Well, goes without saying, I'm a big fan of the players from your era, Tarrant, because your team, that era, it made me an Alabama fan. So, I'm going to have more praise and more excitement with you guys. So I got to bring up another question. Of course, you play with some great running backs during your day at Alabama. Of course, Saran Stacy, Derek Lassick, and Sherman Williams. But which one of those backs would you compare to Nagi Harris? Or is there a comparison?
Good question.
If during it, because Nagi Harris, he's a bigger back. He do more jumping and all that stuff. The guys we had, Lassick, Saran, and Sherman, all that, they pretty much cut and ran speed, had more speed to me than Nagi Harris does. And we wasn't doing a lot of jumping over players back then. But I really don't see any comparison to Nagi from the previous guys that we had that I played with. But the guys that I had, they were a great bunch of backs: Saran, Lassick, Chris Anderson, and Sherman. So to me, honestly, I haven't played with Nagi, but to me, I see those guys being a better runner, stronger runner, faster guy.
Right.
Nagi is.
We're going before poll questions. Who is your favorite Alabama player from last season that you really liked?
From last season, I would have to say Jerry Jeudy. He was a heck of a player. Which there are several players on that team a heck of a player. But he's when somebody else was getting all the glory and shining out there on the field, he was still out there doing his job, blocking and doing everything for them while they got their glory on. But he never said anything, did what he's supposed to do, and I respect the guy that does that.
There you have it.
And that's what I really liked about this past group was so many players were selfless. They were more concerned about getting the job done, like you said, and they celebrated when other people did well. So it was never about me or number one. It was always about team, and it was very evident. And that is so refreshing, especially in this day and age.
Yes, it is.
Justin, one more, or you want to hit into poll questions? But this has to be a quick 30-second last question.
Okay. I'm on the clock. Well, Tarrant, speaking of Alabama, who was it, I guess, that you looked up to? Who was a mentor of yours coming into Alabama and helping you transition and helping you become, a star that you were?
I would have to say during that time right there had to be I would say Clyde Goode, the youngest of the Goode guys. I mean, he was an excellent guy. He told me the ins and outs, the things that I need to do and how I need to do it. When I got down there, he showed me around, showed me all the classes and everything. And he was just an excellent guy. He motivated me, even when I was down, and wasn't having a good day of practice or whatever. he told me to keep my head up because, you're from town, quick, you played at Hazelwood. So you know how we do it. We don't slack or anything like that. We go 100%, don't let anything get us down, and don't think that, anybody's better than us. We come from Hazelwood. We supposed to be, have that mentality that we're better than anybody else.
Tarrant Lynch, Hazelwood High School, one of the Alabama legends. Let's get into poll questions, which is on our Twitter, which you have time to vote. Who is the greatest Alabama fullback of all time? The choices are Tarrant Lynch, Kevin Turner, LaRon McClain, or Jalston Fowler. We'll go with Justin, then Tarrant.
Man, I had to say this. I'm not just saying this because you're here, Tarrant, but I honestly believe that you are the best to ever play the position at Alabama. Like I said, you're one of the main reasons I became an Alabama fan, and I always love your physicality, but also, too, what you're able to do just all across the board. Block, run, and catch the ball out of backfield and just make players miss. I mean, like I said earlier, brother, I hope some of those players you played against had ankle insurance because you broke a lot of them.
I think.
How about you,
Justin.
Tarrant? You could vote for yourself if you want.
I could, but I'll have to get that right there to Kevin Turner. I mean, like I said, that guy right there was awesome. He did a great job blocking, catching the ball, running. He did it all. He was a hell of a player. But that's because I played with him. I didn't play with any other guys, but to me, I think Kevin Turner was the best one to play that position. And
most of Twitter does agree with you. They have Kevin Turner as first place, 53%. Then Jalston Fowler at 23%. Tarrant Lynch, yourself, 15.4%. And LaRon McClain, 7.7%.
Sounds pretty good. Sounds about right.
And
still a lot of time, man. You could take the lead.
You got 21 hours. One guy named Tim March says Johnny Davis from 74 through 77 should have been.
Yeah, I forgot about him. He was a heck of a player too.
And also Major Oglivie or
Oglivie
should have been in the nomination. Justin did not do his homework correct, or maybe there was too many.
They're honestly, Tarrant would probably agree here. They're just honestly too many, but
yeah,
you really can't vote on the best at either the running back or fullback position at Alabama because there's just so many. And I'll go so far as to say is if you can't say that Alabama is running back you or fullback you obviously haven't watched football.
That's right.
No bias there. And second poll question of the day: what is your favorite vintage social media platform? The choices are MySpace, Verb, Friendster, or Vine. We'll go with Tarrant.
I did MySpace.
Tarrant did MySpace back in the day. And Justin Riley?
To be honest with you, I had to go with MySpace mainly because I didn't recognize any of the others that you said, but I did actively use MySpace.
Vine, that's a popular one. Which is actually my vote. But Vine is winning. No, MySpace is winning at 55%. Vine at 36%. Verb at 9%. And Friendster at 0%. So Friendster, no one's giving them credit. They were the first that came up with the like button. So, of course, today it's social media day, which social media is getting a lot of rap right now. So we'll see if things get better with social media. Tarrant, what is the best way for people to reach you online?
Online, I'm on Facebook, of course, under my name, and Twitter, same as under my name, Tarrant Lynch. All of it's under my name, so that's the best way to get in touch with me.
And Justin Riley, how can people reach you, or how can any Alabama player reach you to book us for the sportscast?
I do seem to have the pipeline, don't I?
Or my question is, Tarrant, can you get us any player from your squad to join the show?
I could try. Like I said, we've gone our separate ways since we've finished, but I could try and do it. Justin, who you want specifically? Name
Well,
it.
to be honest with you, I really would like to have like a little bit of a reunion, man, and that'd be an awesome show. Definitely love to have you guys there. Like I said, y'all are the founding reason I became an Alabama fan. So I am definitely all for that.
Justin,
And
you can't be too much, man. That's asking for too much. You
that's,
can't ask
hey,
for the whole 46,
I'm not asking
46
for the
squad
whole.
there.
You know, we can get some guys, but it's definitely a pleasure having you here, Tarrant. Man, it's just absolute blessing, and definitely want to thank you for coming on, and I definitely want to thank you for the message you shared today. And I'll go back to the post that you had on Facebook a couple of days ago, and you were talking about someone needing to hear that specific message that you placed on there at that time. And I honestly believe that God used this podcast and your message to help somebody or multiple people going through the same thing. So I just want to thank you for, opening up and sharing that part of your life with us.
Hey, you're more than welcome. As I say before, just trust in God and be patient, because God, we're all living on God's time, and God is he's always on time God.
Absolutely. And I definitely want to have you on again. Matter of fact, on July 21st, we do have Justin Fowler coming on, and he actually thinks the world of you and looked up to you, especially since he played the same position as you, and he is wearing your number. So it might be kind of cool if we kind of snuck you in there as a surprise to meet with him if you're up for it.
Hey, it sounds good. I'll be more than welcome.
Well, definitely appreciate that. Audience, definitely want to remind you that each week is a new week with a former Alabama player. Next week, we are meeting with former wide receiver Matt Caddell. So be looking out for that. As far as how people can reach me on social media, you can find me on Twitter at Justin Riley 7 and on Instagram at Justin Riley _7. But I also help contribute to the Sportscast, both on Instagram and then on Twitter. That's at the Sportscast 1. I'm also on Facebook. I'm Justin Riley. If you can't find me I'm on Tarrant's friend list. So pretty easy.
And of course, if you go to Justin's Twitter and Facebook, you can see him weight training, lifting 500 pounds of weight. He has a big tournament in a couple of weeks, right, Justin?
I do have a powerlifting meet on July 18th, so getting ready for that. But I'm.
And how can people find out more information about that tournament?
Well, you can go to the USPA website, or you can go to the USPA Mississippi Facebook page and find more about that. Or you can hear me talking about how old I feel daily on Facebook.
Justin's only 29, so he has definitely have a life left. He's still in his prime.
Hey, Tarrant, I definitely do understand about that shoulder situation.
Yeah.
Ever since I turned 40, I definitely have been feeling it. So you're not alone.
All right.
Anyways, you can reach us at thesportscast.net. Read the latest on a lot of MLB players dropping out before the season starts. They're saying 60 games is too short. I don't want to get injured, so they're dropping out like flies. Justin Riley says, stay on. Jim Harbaugh is getting a pay cut with Juwan Howard. And, of course, J.R. Smith is back. So the NBA is going to be very interesting next month. And, of course, like Justin said, catch us next Tuesday. And this Thursday, we have Tyler Turner talking about, could college football be canceled this season? I know that Tarrant and Justin does not want that happen, but it could happen.
Very real possibility, but if it's going to happen, I think Jimmy and Tarrant can still play. We can go out there in the backyard and record it.
But I do hope it'll be an all SEC season. What do you think about that, Tarrant?
Oh, I think it will be. If they have the season, I think it will be, and I hope it will be. I hope it'll be a Alabama season. That's what I'm hoping for.
Hey. Alabama. Was they sign a new quarterback, right, Justin?
Hey, yeah. It's going to be an exciting season. I'm looking forward to it. I do believe it will be modified, probably without fans, but I think it still will go on. Worst case scenario, we'll see an SEC only schedule, but as long as we get to see the Tide roll, that's all that really matters.
That's right.
Tarrant, give us some closing words before we leave.
I had a wonderful time speaking with you guys, and let's just remember, let's take each day one day at a time, and let's be careful out there. Wear a mask and where we're supposed to wear a mask, and check out for your family, and your kids and everything, and just be careful out there because this COVID-19 is real serious.
It's the real deal. Justin Riley, great show.
No, great show because of you guys, man. Really enjoyed it. Like I said, Tarrant, let's get you back on here again.
All right, I'll be looking forward to it.
All right, guys, roll
Tide.